Everyone, and welcome to the video. So today we're going to be looking at using the Oracle Visual Builder Excel plugin as a mechanism to perform data masking, or at least some level of data masking on salary information in Oracle HCM Cloud. So this was a request that came through from one of my colleagues. All the tools I'll be going through today is all free of charge, provided you have Oracle Fusion HCM, and it's not difficult to find. So starting off first is the actual integration tool. So a quick Google search of Oracle VBCS Excel plugin will bring you to the Oracle Visual Builder add-in for Excel, and you sort of just follow through. You can download for Windows. There is some documentation that's really good and detailed, and we do have a short demo for you to go through. The next piece is, trying to find a REST API, and I know for business users, as soon as you say API, you sort of throw a span in the works, but the idea here is really to empower business users to be able to take advantage of these APIs without necessarily having, in-depth or technical knowledge. Again, a simple Google search here of Oracle Fusion HCM Salaries REST API will bring back all the APIs. Probably go to the first link and we can see all the different APIs. So important, we want to get all the salaries for a worker assignment. So this is the one I pick, and I'm going to copy this endpoint. The next piece is getting the URL from your Fusion environment. And once you're logged into Fusion, you can basically, in your browser URL, you copy that. So just looking at what we have so far, so you've got your Fusion URL, you've got your REST API endpoint. What you need to do is then combine the two at the end and then follow it with a slash and describe. So as we see here, and you'll get one long URL like we have there. So with that in mind, what we want to go and do is get into Excel. So I've already installed the application, and this is what we see. There's a few different options here, but really for this purpose, we want to manage the catalog. So I'm going to get in the catalog. This brings up the catalog screen. I just want to copy my URL from here quickly, and let me just bring this up here. So this is what you're seeing there, and we'll have a few different options in here, but I'm just going to walk you through this sort of standard process that's going to be quick and easy, and we'll cover some advanced use cases a bit later. So you can start from scratch, but a lot of the Fusion APIs do support open APIs, so that's really just an international standard for APIs. So I'll add from there, I'll put in my URL and then your different authentication methods. So I'm just going to use default. If I go next, this now brings up the Fusion login. So it will use the exact same details that you've used in the past. So I'm going to log in as someone from HR. Important to know, whatever REST APIs that you are using, that you find in the catalog, if your user does not have access to that API, then you won't be able to use that. So these are typically associated to your abstract job or functional roles. So for example, Curtis is a HR specialist. So because Curtis has all the specialist roles and responsibilities, they have access to the APIs. If I was to try something from finance for Curtis, probably won't be able to access it. So it tells us there's one business object found here, and we're finished there. So you see we do have something here in the catalog. If you double click on it, it will tell you a bit about this. So remember, as I had in my notepad, you have your host, your base path. These are the business objects, which is the salaries piece. And if you go in here, it then also starts showing you what are all the fields that you have available. Some options for download, so you can set limits. 500 is typically the maximum, but if you only want yours to download 100 records at a time, you could do that there, as well as for uploads you can. And if there's any child components, so we know salaries are made of components, pay rates, and simple components. In this case here, I'm just doing the core salary piece, so I'm not going to worry too much about any of the children. If there's any custom actions, so as you've seen in the API, we do have all of these custom actions that was listed. So if I go back there just to refresh your memory, if we're looking here, so all of these find properties and things like that, those are some of the custom actions that we're working with. Finders, this just helps you search in an optimal manner for your data. And again, attachments and other variables are some advanced concepts that we can cover at a later stage. So I've got my salaries in here. And again, the purpose of this is just to, scramble or mask any of the data. So I'm going to go into the designer. What this does is it brings up a list of all the APIs that I've configured in the catalog. I'm going to select salaries, and I just want the base salaries. I'm not going to select anything else. You can have a table layout or form of a table layout. For me, I just want to do a table layout because it's a mass, data masking. Next. And what it does is, based on all of the fields available in the REST API, it now builds a spreadsheet with columns for that, right? And you can see the configuration of all the columns in the layout designer and everything that we have. So I'm just going to hit the download button. It's now going to connect to your Fusion environment, and it's going to start downloading the data into the spreadsheet. So it normally does the 500 or 499 records, and then it stops to ask you, do you want to continue? So just be mindful if you're working with large data sets, that you just need to be a bit patient. In some cases, if you're downloading, call it, 30, 40,000 records that needs to be updated, the download can take maybe 5 to 10 minutes. And likewise, once you make your changes and you're uploading, again, it does the same. So this had popped up another window, said it's already downloaded 499. Do I want to continue? I'm just going to stop now because we're going through a demo. So you can see there's all the different options. So because I'm in a global instance, I can see there's some salaries for the US, France, probably Canada, and it says do not use. And it has all the salary basis names and all the different job titles with the person that the salary belongs to, and then down here we actually have the salary amount. So because Curtis is only a worker for the US business and we only want to data mask the US, I'm going to add a filter, and I'm going to use the search filter here. Again, this brings up all the queryable fields, and I want to search for salary basis. Do we have that here? So there's it there. Go OK. And then it brings up a little editor, and I'm going to say equals to. Right, so I can just leave that blank, and when I go download again, it will pop up this and prompt me each time is equal to, and I want US annual salary. Go OK, and now when it calls the API, it's going to actually filter the data out for me, and we have the downloads busy going. We'll give this a minute. So to improve performance, again, you can start removing some of the columns. Don't just delete the cells out of Excel. Please use the layout designer. Because there's a lot of metadata at the back, we just want to make sure that by deleting certain columns directly, we don't want to mess the spreadsheet up. So I'm just going to stop there because this is just for illustration purposes. So we can see all of this information here, and I want to mask this. So I'll just make everything 40,000, copy all of that all the way down in my data and paste. Oh, did I mess something up? Let me try that one more time. Paste 40,000 and then annual salary. Let's do the same for that. And then again, if you want adjusted amounts and all of that, other fields, probably just look to get that done. Again, I'm just going to copy all of this down and paste. Every environment is configured differently. You may be using some values or others, but this is just an example. You'll see, so once you change everything, this goes to update status, and then you simply upload your changes. That will then pop up the upload progress, and it will start posting all of the records over REST. So if there's any issues or any validations in the API that you may have entered data incorrectly, or you're missing certain data, it will tell you generally here in the status that the update failed, and typically there's an error message as to why it failed. So you would have seen I did like a $58,000 salary and a $40,000 salary. Maybe the API validates those two need to be the same amounts. But whatever the case is, probably first test this out, fine tune this in one of your non-prod environments before you actually use it for what you intend on using it. Of course, we're talking data masking, so you'd never do something like this in production, just your non-prod. But if you were using it for any other sort of mass updates in production, just be careful, because as you see, it's quite easy to mess things up. So here we can see everything says update succeeded, which means it's now gone and updated everything in Oracle HCM. So I now went over everything pretty quick. Please feel free to ask any questions in the comments. I will post all the URLs with the information I had up in Notepad, and I hope you guys found this video useful. Thanks.